All right, we are on. Welcome to Tattoo Business Talks. We got Lauren in the house today from Tattoo Mapper, describing your Google listings and other business directories. Um, just going to kind of hand it over to you, Lauren. It's in your court now.
All right, what's up, everybody? I'm not really the teaching leader, presenter, any of that type, but I really kind of wanted to talk to everybody after I spoke with you, Derek, and a lot of inspiration over time from Gabe to kind of piggyback on what we talked about last week, which is understanding the impact of your social media and really like going further than understanding, actually measuring it. So, with the help of Nicole and some different people over at Metanoia Tattoo Gathering, we began to kind of put together a formula that would allow you to actually calculate this. So essentially, there's a seminar out there that I have put together called Abort the Algorithm, and a huge part of it is understanding what the algorithm does for you. And really, I would love to have maybe a few guinea pigs today to kind of actually find out their conversion rates and numbers. But yeah, let's go ahead and roll through that and get started. So we usually don't do introductions here for this type of thing, but it would help me kind of understand who's in the room. So could we go through everybody who's able to talk and just say where you are, how long you've been tattooing, and where your shop is, just to get started to have a little bit of a basis here. Nicole, do you want to kick it off?
Hey, may as well, right?
Yeah.
So my name's Nicole. I've been tattooing for 5 years, and I am located in Sedona, Arizona.
Okay.
My name's Rufus. I've been tattooing for about 8 years now, and I'm located in Milford, New Hampshire.
My name's Mickey. I've been tattooing for over 20 years, and I'm in Missoula, Montana.
My name's Kenny Hill. I tattoo in Columbus, Ohio. I've been tattooing for 16 years.
My name's Leighton. I tattoo in Westerville, Ohio. I've been tattooing for 2 years.
Joshua. I've been tattooing for about 10 years in Inglewood, Ohio.
I'm Robert. I've been tattooing 30 years, and I'm in Olympia, Washington.
Nice. Keep it coming.
My name is Mitch. I've been tattooing for 3 years, and I'm in Seattle, Washington.
Nice.
I'm Amanda. I've been tattooing professionally for less than a year. I'm in Southern Utah.
Okay.
Real quick, I'm Gabe. I've never tattooed, but I've been working with tattooers and computers since the mid-90s. Love Google and everything that's going on here.
My name's Tattoo Spirit. I've been tattooing since 2008. I have a shop in West Columbia, South Carolina.
Awesome. I got a good friend, Don Taylor, down there, if you know him. All right, that looks like everybody. James, maybe? Did you go already?
No, I haven't. Hi, I'm James. I've been tattooing since 2001. I'm currently tattooing and living in Indianapolis, Indiana.
I'm Derek. I'm a retired tattooer, industry for 31 years, and now I help support you guys on the back end. So.
Caroline.
Hey, it's Caroline Evans. I've been tattooing for 27 years here in New Jersey.
In New York.
I've been tattooing 10 years, and I'm here in Seattle, Washington as well.
All right, that's awesome to kind of get to know you guys real quick, kind of a little bit of people from Ohio, Washington, all over. So regardless where you've been in the US, I mean, since 2012, 2013, a lot of us have really been investing a lot of time. And if we were to actually look at how much time we're investing into social media, It would be crazy and a crazy large number where we don't really even know and understand what the actual return for that is. So one of the things today that I'd really like to focus on is coming up with a formula so everybody can understand what their numbers are. There was a couple people that weren't here last week. Josh, good to see you. Thank you for coming, by the way. I work with him out of Ohio. So I put together a little formula. So today, I'm just going to kind of survey everybody to see where you're at. You can raise your hand physically, and if you're not, feel free to jump in the chat. So how many people here have been growing an Instagram account for a handful of years? How many people have Instagram or any sort of social media? 100%. So the little backstory on me, I started off in 2013 at the beginning with Empire Inc.'s Instagram. And so we were traveling. I traveled around the country, hundreds, eventually 2,500 shops or so that I went in from in 49 of the 50 states. So social media was huge for me because that was a way to communicate. But in 2013, it wasn't like it is in 2025. They didn't really care about filters. They weren't tattoo pictures. It wasn't all about how much money you dunked into your content creation and things like that. So the evolution of this all, I've kind of been with it just as you guys have, probably for the last decade, if not more. And what I was realizing and what Nicole and I were kind of brainstorming is like, who are these people that are following me, and what is it doing for me, and why is my energy going into this without knowing exactly what's happening as a result? So with that, let's talk about this formula. I'm going to screen share here. Can you guys see this all right?
Yep.
Okay, so this is kind of what we're going to do. We're going to calculate our new followers, determine our base, identify our engaged followers, and calculate our monthly bookings, and then project the revenue.
Is there a way to make the image full screen when you do that, or?
I'm going to take it so step by step. Everybody's going to do a one
Perfect.
part at the same time. So we're going to start with step one. If everybody can open up their primary stats or Instagram or something like that that you're using. All right. So the step one is what we're going to talk about is count how many clients came from social media. Hold on, guys. I'm pulling up a document. Like I said, I'm not the best with the presentation stuff. Hold on. Okay, so can everybody go into their preferred social media thing and write down their total follower count? If you have a scratch piece of paper or something like that. So step one of it is to look at our total follower count and write that down. And then what we need to do with that number is find out our conversion rate. So to do that, our conversion rate is going to equal the clients from social media divided by our total followers. So I can screen share that. So basically, I want you guys to calculate a percentage of followers who actually booked. So I don't know what types of analytics you run. Does anyone run an analytic where they keep track of who comes from Instagram, who comes from Facebook? Do we have anybody that's doing that? Okay, so this might take us like 5 to 10 minutes to actually do this. So we're going to look for the past month. If you want to go any further, go through your chat in your inbox, or potentially however you do that, and find out how many people came from Instagram to make a booking, because right now we have to figure out what our conversion rate is. So let's say you had 6 clients book this month from Instagram and you have 2,400 followers. So if you divided the amount of people that booked from Instagram this month divided by your followers, you would get, so say if you had 6 people that booked and you had 2,400 followers, your conversion rate is 0.25%. Does that follow everybody? Or do we need sort of like a diagram to see? Okay, so New York, where are you? I think I remember you having really good conversion rates. Would you mind being a guinea pig here?
So I don't book people through Instagram, so it's kind of difficult to find like how many people are getting to my website from Instagram.
Sure. Okay, so what we're really looking for is to see what, all right, let's go with James. I had 2 Instagram followers. I have 500 followers. How am I doing? All right, so let's go ahead and pull up my calculator. So his conversion rate will be 2 divided by 500. 0.004. 0.4%. That's you, James. So remember that number. 28.1, 2 bookings. .07, Nicole. So what I'm doing on my phone is clients from social media divided by your followers times 100, because that'll be your percentage. So how many Instagram clients divided by your followers times 100? So what this means for you, Nicole, out of all of your followers, only 0.07% actually booked an appointment. So that's your conversion rate. Is that lower or higher than you expected?
I mean, just from the trends that I've noticed, it's about as expected, but the number is just staggeringly low.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So
Can you say the equation again? I'm slow. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm going to bring it up. I wasn't actually prepared that well or that much today. Yeah, I kind of got it a little backwards, actually. Okay, so what we're going to do then... Okay, and then also the next step we're going to do is look at our engagement rate. And those you can go into your analytics to find out. Just open up your Instagram or Facebook or something like that and see see your last posts and divide the amount of likes divided by the amount of followers. So you can do that on a few of posts and kind of see what your averages are, what you would expect. I'm assuming engagement rate will be maybe 5%.
On Instagram, it says like interactions on my professional dashboard. Okay.
Trying to find those numbers. So I'm going to type this.
I get a lot of my interactions on TikTok, but they won't be bookings. They will be walk-ins that say they found out about me on TikTok. I don't really interact with Instagram as much as I used to. And I'm looking at they don't really hit me up on my inbox, but I'm just looking at like one of my previous posts. It got like 12 likes and I have like 3,500 followers. So that's my number is 0.34.
Okay, so let's just maybe round it way up and say maybe potentially over time with different people converting. Let's just give a base average for everyone for 2%. If you have that number, and the conversion rates look pretty low for everybody, so let's just say 1% because I'm typing in some numbers here. All right, so according to everybody, do you think maybe an average tattoo price could be about $500? That would maybe come, okay. All right, and then by a show of hands, while you're in your analytics, I want to see like an average amount of time per week that we spend on social media. So is it 20 hours from a group? We'll use our group average, 1% engagement. 40. Okay. So do you think we spend about 10 hours a week on Instagram? Something like that?
What are alcohol metabolites?
Say
And how
20.
does it in your system?
My phone tells me how much I'm on, but I'm not going to tell anybody else. It's wickedly embarrassing. The algorithm knows I want to fight politics.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to.
Okay. So maybe 10 hours a week, is that too much, or 15 hours a week? Does that seem pretty average? If we're gonna, if we do that, that would be about, okay, let's just see, 15 times 4, 60 hours a month doing that. Times about $25 of your time per hour, that'd be about $1,500 worth of your time. So your ROI.
The cost of doing FOMO?
Right. Okay, so let me enter it in. We'll take about an average of 3,000 followers while I'm typing in this in. It's actually taking a little bit longer than I thought, and I'm a little bit like sluggish feeling on it, so we might have to kind of wait, and I'm going to go back into my actual content then for today. Because, yeah, so what I was going to show you guys, and I'll just drop it because the calculation is a little bit funny and slow, but what we're going to do is look at the difference between spending 60 hours a month on Instagram and creating this content and what that time would do if you're actually investing into your listings, your online website, your back end, your schema markup, and your publishing. So let's go ahead and jump back into this little seminar where we kind of touched on yesterday or last Thursday, Tuesday. Okay, so for those of you who are watching, I kind of screwed up the formula a little bit because I was looking. So what we presented last week to kind of mind blow people was we had this calculation with a few different factors. So what we did, if everybody can see this, let's assume a tattoo artist has 10,000 followers on their account. Their monthly growth rate is about 2%. Their local audience is about 4,000 out of those 10,000 clients. They have about an engagement rate of 5%. So that means that 200 of the 4,000 local clients engage pretty regularly. And their conversion rate is kind of like what we figured out today, 2.5%, meaning 5 of 200 engaged followers actually booked. So based on those numbers, I plugged them into this sort of calculation here. As you can see my cursor, the potential clients, like that 4,000, the engaged followers, the monthly bookings. So if you were to just live your life and continue to have engaging content with that 60 hours per month and invested into your social media, your annual revenue could be about $27,000. Okay. So with that $27,000, we started to think, well, how effective is this actually going to be if I continue to add 60 hours per month, which would be, if that was $25 per hour for your time, that'd be about $1,500 per month. So on this next slide, we kind of look at social media versus more of those hybrid strategies to gain followers and how long that would actually take. So if you look at this graph here, this is looking at the different types of ways to grow your business. Over here, I have how effective it is. And over here, I have the type of thing that you're doing to get the impact. So let's just kind of take a look at what you could do if you were doing in-person strategies, not social media. The impact that you could have on your community is incredibly effective. And so some of the ways that you could do that were some of the things that Gabe and I have been talking about and quite a bit. Collaborating with local businesses, doing the business roundtables with local businesses, getting flyers out, offering gift certificates to the places that you actually go to, private events for your clientele, things like that. That's community impact. And look at the community impact that if you were to put the same amount of time on social media, how impactful that could be to your community. It scores a 3 out of 10 compared to a 10 out of 10. And let's look at how fast you can actually grow yourself if you focus on your listings, your online presence, and your website, things like that. The speed in which you can do it if you actually follow the step list or the checklist and stuff like that, very effective. We're going to look at how sustainable it is if you're active in your community versus how sustainable it is if you are invisible and on your phone and social. This is kind of how sustainable we are. Very high, almost as high as the impact you'll have in your community. Also, if you're going to meet someone online versus meeting them through one of these projects that we're talking about, whether it's collaborating on like with the restaurant, something like that, a bar or anything, on their coasters, on their glasses, artwork on their walls. The client conversion rate on that scores about an 8 out of 10. If you're going to try and convert clients through these sorts of posts or videos or content, the score there would be about a 4 out of 10, which would be you're half as likely to convert a client on the internet as you would be if you met them in person. Lastly, the amount of time. When we talked about it earlier, 15 hours a week, I guarantee that's maybe even half of what we spend per week. If we were to actually spend the amount of time on social media if we were to spend the amount of time on our website, our listings, and even getting out in our local community, we're almost twice as effective by doing that sort of method. And it kind of pulls things into perspective when you look at it that way. So now that we've looked at these numbers, and I didn't really hone in on all the numbers like I wanted to, but how does your ideal client even find you then if they're not necessary, if it's kind of a combination of all of this stuff, what is going on? So as we found in our little challenge last week, that if you are a client and you're searching for something, you're going to start searching with Google or Bing or one of those listings. You're going to search by saying best tattoo artist near me, fine line tattoos in Chicago, best geometric tattoo artist. And then they're going to browse the results. Like if they don't know your Instagram, this is probably 90% how this sorts of things happen. They start with a search. They're going to look at Google Maps, Instagram, Yelp, Facebook, all of those sorts of things. They're going to look at your reviews, your photos, your business details, checking the experience, accessibility, availability, and then they might reach out. So there's a huge process that happens, and it usually happens on the internet. And what I'm finding is that tattoo artists aren't up to par, vastly up to par with those things because they're spending so much time investing in their social media that a lot of these other things are left unchecked. And this is my favorite slide, but I have 20,000 followers on TikTok. Do I really need to be present online too? Yes. So let's just talk a little bit about the difference between that passive discovery that we're finding where people are there, and yes, your numbers might be high, but it's passive. They're not, your conversion rates are so alarmingly low that it almost isn't even on the chart. And I do respect all of your 500 followers, James, and all of your 2,800 followers, Nicole, but how effective is that going to be? So when you're on social media, as we can kind of tell by those numbers, it's sort of a passive discovery engagement area. People kind of either stumble upon you when they're scrolling. They might not find you unless something you do is viral, where you have like 1,000 hits or something like that. And that's usually more short-term interactions that probably aren't actually translating into your conversions. As you can tell, if you look at your conversion rates, your bookings are so low in comparison to the amount of followers. So as we kind of get into the realm of making sure that all of our content is understood and readable by the internet, we're looking at active discovery here. People who are looking for you, they're looking for a solution or very direct intent. We've got Google and Bing and voice search that kind of are able to understand your intent and connect you to the right places. A lot of the work is done for you. They're producing these results, whereas on a passive discovery social media sort of form, it's not as direct, it doesn't have the same intent. Leads from the search have a much higher conversion rate compared to social. So if we want to even take this a step further, once I get that formula right, we have the same formula for your website conversion as you do your social media conversion. You can use a formula to see that if you were to put your time in to your website, getting that back end set, getting your articles written, you're going to be able to calculate and compare the difference of the time on the website and the internet listings in comparison to your social media. And then, of course, you'll have the hybrid approach of getting out into your community, which is the most impactful. So yeah, this is just a quick little debunk. Social media likes and shares don't improve search rankings. Press features, listings, and website engagement do. So as we're kind of moving forward, remember this. Social media can influence, but search converts. So we need to be prepared with our online presence to do that. The next little slide I had here is another sort of thing that we went over last week, and it kind of just tells us the amount of time in comparison to the effectiveness of what we're doing here. So I really encourage everyone to do something like Josh is doing, the first steps here of getting yourself published, getting yourself out there, which is what this sort of represents. Okay, so I want to touch on something a little bit more today called the power of business listings. So I can't see everybody right here, but I want to get back to seeing your faces. How many people actually have a Google business profile for their business? Okay, that's a lot. How many people have a Google business profile for them as a tattoo artist? That's not as much. Okay. So there's something to say about that, and that's something that we want to talk about, but if everybody's on Google, let's just talk about the power of the others. Here's a quick little kind of icon list of some of the listings that are really important to be on, where Google is extracting data from to answer the questions where the people who are searching are going to get. So this is Google. We've got Google, Bing, Yelp, Foursquare. This is Alexa, Yahoo, Maps. All of these things are directories with your information on them. And if you're a tattooer working at a shop, a lot of times I get people asking, do I need my own business listing? And the answer is yes. So according to Google, if you're an artist, they view you as an individual practitioner. So I'll just quickly say what that means. A public-facing person who's typically with their own clientele. So that means that if you own a shop, you can also have your own profile as well. Not only should you should. Your business listings can be more powerful than your Instagram profile. So if you want to have your own feed that's not necessarily your shop, that's what you can use your Google business profile as, especially when you're looking at these sorts of numbers. I just kind of noted that 46% of all Google searches have local intent. So basically, when you have local intent, you can look at the city you live in. So for example, I live in Appleton, there's 17 shops here. So if everyone looking for a shop has local intent, if I am primarily on social media, I'm in a pack of wolves. I have everybody there, anything and everything there. But if they go to Google and I'm one of 17, I'm able to know that 50% of the people looking for me are going to be finding one of 17 results. You might live in Columbus, like Layton and Kenny, there's hundreds of shops. So for example, there's a girl that I work with at Red Tree Tattoo. She has been putting tons and tons of overtime into her social media, but she never actually had her Google treated as such. So once she started putting on her Google, we got her on Bing, we got her on dozens of other places, she started posting there. And her bookings are quite consistent because instead of solely focusing on her Instagram, she's able to post to her Google My Business profile, which in turn triggers the results for the people that she's looking for. So. Pull this back up. So the purpose of all this, what is the purpose of all this? So the purpose of this is to build your own personal brand alongside your professional brand, and it's going to create a twice as big effect on it. Your profile allows you to showcase your tattoos, your own branding, specialties, and portfolio that sets you apart from the other artists in your shop and area. This is going to allow you to direct clients to your portfolio rather than the portfolio of your entire shop, but it actually benefits the shop nonetheless. This is going to help you expand your online visibility. By having your own profile, you can tap into local SEO for you as an artist, for searches like custom tattoo artists near me. This also gives you a really good control over your reviews. So everyone who raised their hand when they have one for their shop, well, they might have 6 artists at the shop. If 6 artists had their own Google profiles that were linking back to that address, we've also got a huge amount of Google response that's directing all that data to one location. So it's pretty good. But you'll have control of your own reviews here. This means that you can have clients reviewing on your tattoos, which will impact how other people see you, rather than maybe like the traditional artist at your shop maybe didn't have the experience that you would have offered, and that review doesn't reflect it. So I really preach to have that quite often. It also gives you future flexibility. If you decide to work at a different shop or go fully independent, having your own profile established ensures continuity for your brand and client base. I'm not saying that you should probably just get up and leave your shop, but it is really common to keep, in the tattoo world. So the type of information that we are going to put on our business listings, all of this stuff is more and more data for Google. This isn't social media stuff. Your business name, your address, which will integrate with the map results, all of this type of stuff goes on your listings. Okay, so that based on that little challenge last week when we presented a lady with a lot of different, I'm in a wheelchair, I'm looking for a tattoo shop in Chicago that's open late with a private room. And we found that when a client is looking for you, they're not going to get the answers they're looking for from your social media or a lot of times people's websites or Google profiles. So really what I want to dial in here is to make sure that all of this information is available to Google to give to people. Who are you? What do you specialize in? Where are you located? When are you open? How do I book an appointment? Kind of common sense stuff here. Another thing that we're looking at is all of that stuff tends to be kind of diluted when you're looking at social media. You want accurate everything, and you want it to be read by Google so that it can have all of this information about you that's consistent. Your booking information, your address, phone number, website, booking link, are they all capitalized the same? Is the naming exact same? All of those sorts of things. When you're talking about these sorts of descriptions on your profiles, you can be making these sorts of posts with these words in them that would be wonderful. All right, so let's talk about Google. So when we talk about being on Google, which we all are, did you guys know that the rankings are based on relevance, distance, and engagement? So that one's pretty funny because people forget that when these search results come up, that's kind of what they're looking for. All right, so when we come to the local search authority, the more your business is mentioned in different places, the more trustworthy it appears. So also when businesses can answer those real questions in blogs, frequently asked services, service pages are going to rank higher. Backlinks and citations. Getting mentioned on high authority websites boosts credibility. That's why I talked about those listings. But when this is the stuff that Google is prioritizing, you're not getting any of this from social media at all, except for maybe one backlink of Instagram. So also when we're going to look at our Google, we're going to see something called Google Questions. Does anyone have any familiarity with Google Questions here? No? Okay, so what we're going to do is on your Google business profile, we're going to look at the fact that you can actually, as a business, ask anything, and the results in those will also be triggered in search results. So Google Q&A is a place where users ask questions or businesses can ask their own questions about your shop when they visit your profile. And you can respond as yourself as you want. Okay? So what that means is you can provide answers to the questions that people are asking about you that will then trigger the results. So what I tell artists to do is come up with 5 to 10 questions. How much does a tattoo, the dumbest questions, it doesn't matter what it is, but things that people are searching for. How much do tattoo cost? Do you have a private room? Do you do traditional tattoos? Things like that, you'll know for your own business what they are, but these are designed to go into your tattoo your Google Q&A, and you're going to answer it yourself, but the answers that you have will then be translated to Google when people are looking. So for example, on one of my clients, we asked, how much does a sleeve cost? And we said, tattoo pricing depends on the size and the detail. You know, we said something like that. So that way, when people are looking, they're looking through all of these results. It's not on a website. It's actually right there in Google, and it's given to them. So if anyone wants to know how to do that, you can search for your own business on Google, and you can scroll down on the right-hand side where it says the Q&A, and you can add common questions right there. If anyone has a question, just send me a text or something like that. But I recommend doing 5 to 10, and that will help trigger those search results for stuff that you're not going to find easily on Instagram, like do you have a private room? Any of the questions that you're asking. Here's some examples here. Do you offer private rooms for tattoo sessions? Is your shop wheelchair accessible? Do you offer fine line tattoos? How much does a half sleeve cost? You know, stuff like that. This is a place where you're going to dump keywords that's not as difficult as writing a blog or anything like that. So having these pre-filled answers makes it easier for clients to choose you. Just plain and simple, because so many people aren't doing this. It's probably done by maybe 5% of shops I've ever seen, maybe 1%. It'll just only help you, and it's going to help a lot. So many people ignore that Q&A because they don't think it matters, but that tells Google the information about you that you probably don't have anywhere else. Which kind of brings me quickly into our Google posts. How many of you guys actually post to your Google business profile as you would as if you were on Instagram? And I can't see you, so just kind of, if you can say something.
I do.
Sounded like Nikki.
I've been trying to at least update photos like once a week whenever we can.
Okay, once a week. All right, so that's cool. Once a week is actually probably a lot less than a lot of people. So do not forget to post your Google profile. The types of posts you can do, it can be something regular. Google gives you the option to post an offer and update announcements and promotions. These are displayed for about 7 days on your profile. So you can make a post every week is probably a good idea because you have 7 days for that post to stay up there. You can also do event posts, like this flash tattoo sale is this Saturday only. You can post like that right into Google and it appears in it as an event. You can also do an offer which stays up a little longer, or a pinned post for feature content. So any of your graphics, any of the stuff like that. So like I was just saying, this is kind of a little thing. What should I post? Offers can stay up longer than regular posts and are visible until the offer end. So you can make that like a monthly thing or something like that. Okay, I only made this slide to kind of talk about why this is important, because when people are really looking for you, they're trying to trust you without seeing your videos and knowing who you are and following you over time on social media. So it's really important to have yourself presented right, because this is a psychological and cognitive process where they're developing confidence in your stuff without knowing really who you are, without direct human interaction. So different sorts of things to do is really common. Showcase your reviews, post those testimonials to highlight the experience and reputation, and engage. All of this stuff can happen on all of your listings, particularly Google. You can create online trust by doing these actions. It's kind of the way to live right. Showcasing your reviews. What you can do is on your website, either copy and paste, screenshot, or embed a Google review thing to show this social proof here. People are going to trust businesses a lot more with this social proof. So here my friend Maddie has her shop. She's got her reviews. She can take those, and we have, and put those on her website and things like that. All right, the next thing that I think a lot of people are forgetting is how prominent these zero-click searches are, and how a lot of your tattoo clients are kind of coming in from that way. So a zero-click search happens when Google, which is the most popular search engine, provides an answer directly in the search results, so people don't actually need to visit a website. Surprisingly, this happens quite a bit. So you see how this is. I Googled who is the best realism tattoo artist in Columbus, Ohio. This here, all of this sort of stuff that comes up, this is becoming the way that people are finding you. You see this data here, this AI overview, and here he has his his links. But this data overview, Google is trying to get more and more and more data for this stuff. And they don't get data points from these images and photos and things like that. And they might be scanning Instagram soon, but the best places are the internet to get this. So Dante Gabriel over at Red Tree, Chris Powell, and Urban Cowboy, which I don't even know who Urban Cowboy is.
He's one of my coworkers.
Do you think he's the best realism tattoo artist in Columbus, Ohio?
No.
Right. Okay. So people are looking for this and they're finding the wrong things because you can't go to social media and write that in a search box. The only place you can really ask questions like these are either Chat GPT or a GPT or a search engine probably, or a friend. But look, this is how people are searching for you now. They're not looking tattoo shop near me quite as often as they're actually asking a question utilizing natural language. So a lot of the stuff I'm talking to you about, and my presentation is actually really shitty with this, but all of the stuff I'm talking about is you need to get your business on Google and really focus on getting all of that stuff in because they're trying to get enough data so that these search engines can produce the best results. I think that whoever these people are have this information written somewhere. It's written down attributes about themselves. So Google's taking it and accepting it. You know, one of the best realism tattoo artists in Columbus, I can't think of who it would technically be, but let's just say someone over at Hollow Earth or something like that. They're amazing. If they would go into their Q&A for their Google and write some of the answers to the types of things that people are actually looking at, they would come up in those results. Because Google is just taking the information that it has. So I encourage all of you guys to go and go into your Google and start creatively searching for yourself. Like New York, go who is the best female tattoo artist in New York, you know, or Halo could be who is the best female tattoo artist in Salt Lake City, or the best realism or the best traditional, and start searching for yourself and see if you come up in the search results where you know you are, and then compare to the people who come up that you know literally aren't that person. Like if Urban Cowboy is probably, I don't know who it is and I don't want to say anything bad about him, but if he's not those things, somehow he's basically self-proclaimed those things to Google, where half the people who are looking directly with local intent. So you really want to get that stuff kind of honed in. So how this would work for a tattoo artist, because we're utilizing that natural language sort of stuff, is this: best tattoo artist for a realism artist in city. So when someone does that, you're going to get that little local pack that comes up. Or if someone says, how long does a tattoo sleeve take? Google is going to display a little feature snippet or maybe show something from your Q&A. If someone goes tattoo shops with private rooms in Columbus, they're going to pull that from Google Q&A if you want to, so they can get your business attributes. Rather than not having any information at all, you can feed them that information and it'll feed it to the results. If someone were to go wheelchair accessible tattoo shops near me, Google would be able to prioritize shops that have this listed feature in their profile. So you see what I'm kind of getting at, is these data points are really, really, really going to help you. So if you guys want to go ahead and optimize your search for these zero-click searches, which are 60% of the time what Google says is happening, is super easy. You just go into your profile, make sure all of your business name, category, additional categories, your service area, all of that stuff is completely accurate and consistent. Keep your hours as open as possible, because when someone searches, if they're going to search for you and you're open, your result is going to be higher. So if you're going to be optimized for these zero-click searches, you're going to be posting once a week to your Google, and all of this data is going to be fed to these new sort of search engines that are happening. So some of those takeaways of what I was just talking about is to go in and make a note to complete your Google business profile completely. The more details, the better. Use the Q&A feature to answer those common client questions. Get more reviews. So what we encourage all the time, Mickey, Gabe, James, everyone, is to get that review, that post-appointment review follow-up within the first day to a week or whatever it is. Post regularly to your Google My Business. Treat it like an extension of your social media. And then make sure everything on your shop's information is updated and accurate, because you're going to get penalized if things are outdated, like your phone number, your name, your address, and the phone number. Okay, how much time we have? I'm kind of rambling. Does anyone want to hear about natural language? Okay, so natural language processing is kind of what I touched on before. It's basically when Google is using artificial intelligence to figure out how to answer all these questions when people are searching. And they're utilizing this in a way that social media is kind of becoming obsolete in the way that they're understanding these questions. So if we can give them the data, they're able to use the data, but without the data, they're not able to use it. So Kenny, if I were to look up in Columbus, Ohio, the type of tattoo artist that you are, you can tell Google that you're that guy, and Google will not really know the difference because no one else is taking that title. And you can do it creatively through your questions and your social media stuff, but it's not necessarily SEO because SEO is helping the results, but this is natural language. This is a completely innovation past SEO. Google's trying to understand who you are, and the best way for them to do that is to tell them. So some of these natural language processes are finding their way more and more into Google search because ChatGPT and things like that isn't going to have the information unless you tell them. So ChatGPT is beginning to make directories and beginning to make all sorts of stuff where they're getting the information online, but it's not always accurate. So we're starting to see that more and more. And I've tried this too with Alexa devices. So if you had all the things that I said to optimize your profile before, your Alexa devices are going to know that. So on top of searching for yourself and your company, you as an artist or the best X tattoo artist in an area, another thing that you should do is ask your Alexa about those things. Because I asked my Alexa the other day for the best tattoo artist in Appleton, and I got the #1 shittiest shop. The reason why is because that shop had the information for Google and Alexa to take from. Okay, so for today, I'll share a couple actionable steps that I think would be important. We want to go through and audit our online listings. Check out, since a lot of us are on Instagram and Facebook, all of those sorts of things, do you show up for relevant searches? Do they show what you actually are, what your expertise is? Because a lot of people are just using their profile to look cool or to make posts. They're not giving the information that they need. Not only that, like when you get to your profile, make all of this stuff crystal clear. Black work, what the type of artist that you are your booking links and processes stupid obvious. And schedule one improvement a week. So understand the back end of these things, what problems your customers are facing trying to find you, and make one little improvement per week on that. So I'm going to do a little Google search in the back end over here. Okay, so what I just did now, because I work with you, Josh, best tattoo artist in Englewood, Ohio. There's two people, Flamingo Noir Collective and Mike Sornaki Tattoos. So the reason I'm kind of bringing this up, because I work with Josh, we've kind of put him on all the listings, kind of step one. And step two would be make sure that Google has this information, because when I look it up, it's kind of enlightening. So if you guys can right now, go to Google and look for the best tattoo artist in your city, and you're going to see results. And then you're going to scroll down a little bit, and you're going to see a bunch of questions that people often ask. And utilize those questions and maybe copy and paste those types of common questions and put them in your own Google My Business Q&A. So a lot of times people say, who are the best tattoo artists in Ohio? Corey Wasmond, she came up before Derb. Kyle Cotterman, this is just taking random information. So go in and Google and search yourself, write down what these results are, write down how bad you scored, and then tell Google who you are and own that. Tell them who you are through the Q&A. We can go next time on how to tell Google who you are through your website, but this is just one of those 1, 2, 3 punches that's incredibly important. And honestly, everything that comes up, Flamingo Noir, Poisoned Apple, Flamingo Noir, Enchanted Arts, and that's what I call an audit. Go through and audit yourself to see where you're coming up in the listings, and then find other creative ways to try and find you. I looked it up, best tattoo artist in Inglewood. Now I'll look, best female tattoo artist in Inglewood. Flamingo Noir, Enchanted Tattoo Arts. So maybe you can look up different types of ways to find yourself and do that actual audit on yourself. Best tattoo artist in Missoula, Montana. Best tattoo artist in Missoula would be Montana Tattoo Company. This is the way people are looking. So get into your search and try to find how people are going to find you, because if you go to your Instagram, you're not going to be able to search that way. You're looking for photos, when really people are with real intent to book are looking for information. And that's what we need to do through the online search listings and put our time into that so that we're actually mature as a business. And when people are going to Google to find us, these attributes are known and sorted. So, yeah. I'm going to do one more time. Best female tattoo artist in Sedona. I don't see it yet, Nicole. So yeah, so if you guys can go through and audit your own business, there's lots of different ways to do that. With the formula, because I kind of screwed it up a little bit today, the main driving in point is that almost every single tattoo artist conversion rates on social media are kind of complete garbage, unless you're a rock star, and I totally applaud all of you for being that. But the real thing in this sort of time frame where we all sit right now with the internet and the growth rate and our conversion rates, we have to be present online. And we have to think about how people are actually looking for us, who have no idea who we are. Because Google's pulling a bunch of shit that across the country is pretty inaccurate. But unfortunately, half of people that are looking are finding these results. So where do you stand when people are actually trying to book a tattoo, have no idea who you are, have no idea about the process? How are they going to find you? So, so yeah, it kind of begins with knowing what comes up, and then getting that data to Google. Anybody have any questions right now? I'm kind of rolling through sorts of things. The next thing that I would talk about is when you're trying to feed Google all this data, you can be really smart with it. I'll get right to you, Amanda. But for example, there's ways that you can put information in your website on the very back end that is just a paid code that's pasted right into it. It's a JSON code, a JSON code. So you can do that and give Google even more data, which will be insanely more effective at getting Google searches than if you were to just try to continue to post on social media. You could even post on social media 4 times more as you do, and your conversion rates would still be pathetic in comparison to some of these sorts of things. Amanda?
So I was just thinking that this is a lot of information and I want to watch this video again. So my first question was, when is this going to be uploaded so I can watch it again? And then my other question is, I'm pretty sure I want to book with you. I know that you do like one-on-one sessions. Like, what's the information on that?
Just drop your email and we can connect. But I think that I want to do, because I'm kind of figuring out how to work with tattooers, because I was working with Cheyenne for and Raw Pigments, Empire. These are all brands that are focused on products. So kind of like sideline while I was working on these products and growing, I learned a lot of stuff that on a grand scale can be implemented. But it's kind of these things where you're going to start and look at yourself like, hey, I need to really focus on my Google, and this doesn't happen overnight. Taking little steps. So I thought about doing like monthly, like, this project will happen so that we can figure out, first we're going to start with our getting listed. Then we'll go to what happens when people find those listings. Is everything accurate? Then you can go to posting articles instead of spending all your time on those posts and content reels and things like that. Nicole, last week you said something like, can you tell everybody again what you said last week about how focusing on Google kind of impacted your business operations?
I'm trying to remember what.
So basically you were suspended for a minute or something like that. You were able to get that cleared up, and you started seeing that maybe this is working a little bit better than what my Instagram is doing for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, I had troubles getting verified for a while. And so that was kind of like hindering things. And then almost immediately once I got that cleared up and got the verification going and started incorporating a lot of these things that you have brought up. It's been definitely getting people to reach out more frequently. Um, Setting up consultations, actually getting in my chair, booking like soulmate dream clients. Like nobody's fussing about anything. They're coming to me because of what I do. They want to work with me because of what I do. And yeah, it's been very uplifting and it's been maybe not even a full month. So the more that I can see, the more that I incorporate these things and like, yeah, the reminder today of actually posting to the Google business page, I actually just went and made a post because I was like, oh, I should probably do that.
Did you write something in the post or did you just do an image?
I wrote and did an image.
Okay, yeah, so that's also
yeah.
encouraging for everybody to do. And even if you want to post 100 photos or 50 photos at once, nobody cares. It's not like social media where you're like, oh no, is this the best time to post? It's not like that. There's no FOMO in this. It's just
Yeah,
like,
there's
oh,
no pressure.
none. You're not caring if people comment or like on it, but what you're doing is being 100% more impactful. Maybe I'm wrong with the percentage, but you're way more impactful to add that into your everyday or every week sort of task list.
Yeah, it's definitely a good reminder to get on and do that regularly because it literally just took 2 minutes. I didn't have to worry about, is this content going to be viral? Is this, should I add a song? What song should I add? Oh, I added that song last time. Let me find another one. No, that doesn't sound right. Like all of these things that we do on social media that just chews up time for very little results is not even worth it. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a nutshell of things. Like I said, I'm not the best presenter, but just what I
Yeah,
want. Go ahead. Your baby's awesome. Like, what
You're
a
up,
good
Spirit.
baby. Go ahead.
I definitely agree with what Nicole just said about. Oh, thank you. So do you think it matters?
Do you want to type out your
Do you
thing?
think
maybe?
it? Can you hear me?
Hear you now.
Yeah. Do you think it matters if you pay for promotion on Google?
I don't think it
Does
matters.
it make a difference?
I don't think it matters if you don't have everything streamlined. So first, what you need to do is like, what does a client think when they get to my page? So if you're not like strong, you don't want to stand up to put your money out there and give your money to Google if you're not consistent. So like I said, like if your booking process is completely clear and you can convert someone with a 0-click search and you're that strong, then yeah, you can invest in Google. I've seen a lot of shops do it. You do come up, you don't have to do it, but you do come up as like a sponsored post so people can tell you actually paid for that. So it goes, when you're looking for yourself, look at how you appear. There'll be sponsored post at the top and then the other results at the bottom and the questions. You could dominate all of this first and then put money into it, right? Because
Also
I've seen,
tracking it, right?
yeah,
Like, so
tracking.
the
Gabe's way
thing with
better.
advertising is, is it worth it? Well, if you track it, you'll know. If you just boost post, I was making fun of somebody yesterday. I was a little brutal about it. They're like, oh, it was one of my old partners, one of my guys that started up tattooing out with me. He's like, yeah, I do some advertising. I'm like, but wait, we're looking at this pixel ID number, and you're saying you don't have a pixel. And he's like, nah, I boosted a post, and it was like, well, that's not fucking advertising. That's just spending money to. That's just giving money to Meta, right? Like literally the pixels or the Google tracking. Those when there's a success, not only can you track the success, but the computer tracks the success. So the computer knows what kind of people to send your way to also purchase. So again, I guess the answer to the question is always to Lauren's point. If anything else or everything else is fucked up, like don't spend money to like send somebody to something that's ineffective. But you have a good form. People are filling this stuff out. You've got your pixels and your Google analytics squared away. Then you'll know how much it costs you, $15 or $25 or $50 for a consultation. And yeah. So anyways, answer is track it.
Yeah, tracking. So another thing that I like to do, because some of you guys have these websites and you're like, oh, I just want to have it like this, and I just want to have it like this. I think it's better to stop saying that and say, how does my client want my website to look, you know? So like for example, if you want to put money on Google, but as soon as someone gets to your website, it's just an image, it doesn't even have your name, you know, it might be a link that's broken. Check that first. Also too, I just want to add this kind of slightly unrelated when I talked about doing some of the back end markup. A lot of people put their logos on their website, but they don't type out their name. I don't know how it impacts Google, but if Google's looking at this image, it's different than looking at the actual name. So sometimes when those things aren't in there, that's when you go into the back end and add those tracking codes or those JSON codes so that Google can actually understand those photos and all that information further to feed the results and improve your results. I see you thinking, Derek.
Yeah, I have a couple questions here. I'm kind of curious because Nicole touched base on this briefly. There are some hoops to jump through when it comes to getting your listing, first getting listing with Google. Maybe video walkthrough, a video outdoors of your address and stuff like that too. Google making it a little harder for people to just list. Can you kind of go over some of the biggest challenges or, obstacles preventing artists from, listing properly?
Well, there's two things. First of all, right now I got a notification from Google that they're like overwhelmed and taking longer to approve profiles and stuff. But I just did one the other day because one of my partners is more of like a service area and he's like, I need an address for my Google thing. So I don't know if this was recorded, but what we did is we printed a vinyl sign for my window, put it up. So we have a physical permanent fixture of your name somewhere. And we started with the Google verification video outside. So it actually, through the Google app, gave us the video recording thing. So we went outside and started. I held the phone. My friend goes, hey, I'm with Top View Media. We're at the Edison Center. We're going to go inside. So I kind of panned my phone like this, followed him all the way upstairs to where I showed a physical fixture of my name. He had his keys in hand and unlocked his door. We walked around and he said, this is where I work. This is my computer. And that was it. Verified. So there's different things like show you unlocking the door, show outside, show a permanent fixture of your name, say your name and what you do, and that if you were a tattoo artist, you could say, my name is Mickey. This is my tattoo machine. It's very simple. Google just wants to know you're real. Google doesn't give a shit what you're wearing, any of that stuff. They just want to know you're real. So my best advice would just be don't be intimidated by the process. These guys do not care about you. They just want to know you're real.
So if there's an artist in the room right now, or some of you guys probably know artists that you work with that are not listed right now on Google, what are like the top 3 steps for them to take right now to just take some action, get things done?
By creating your own Google business profile will probably be the first, which will then segue and link to your Bing profile, which is number 2. So what I would suggest is taking a look at those things, whether or not you actually have a permanent fixture of if you could be verified. You want to make a profile, but can you be verified? Like, do you have a permanent fixture? If you're in a suite with a bunch of other people and it just says the shop name everywhere, then you might not even be prepared for your own. You know what I mean? But if you could do that even through vinyl, or like my other friend Brandon was verified with like a neon sign on the wall, you could do stuff like that. But I can drop a document for everybody of like, hey, you have to have this in order to be verified. And once you can say, yes, I have all these things as a tattooer, even in your own shop,
I think James also and he's got his hands up, so he's probably hopping in.
Oh, okay, yeah. So like if James Wisdom said James Wisdom Tattoos, he's in it's not his shop, he's in a shop with other people, that's a permanent fixture. So there's different things you can do, like say you're a traveling artist or whatever, there's different types of businesses. You could be a service area business or a physical location business. The physical location one is the one where it has to have that proof of verification. So if anyone doesn't have a profile, just simply go to business.google.com to create one. So tattoo artists are like, well, what should I call it? Well, keywords, call it the keywords people are searching for. Derek Youngbird, tattoos and fine art. Derek Youngbird, tattoo artist, things like that. It's very, very straightforward data points. James?
I was just going to mention that I also had a hard time getting the business listing to work. There were, yeah, and I gave up on it for a while, right? So I think I did fall victim to the hurdles, right? But you recommended, Gabe and you both like really, encouraged me to keep, trying it. And then you suggested something, Lauren. I want to give you credit. You said like, something about like I'm not trying to claim the business, something like that, right? Like I went through and I put in the address that I needed, and then it asked if I was trying to claim that business, and I said no, I had nothing to do with it. It was a totally new thing. That's when it allowed me to do it. So, I don't know, I mean, there's other things like I have an EIN, um, I have an LLC, these sorts of things. I don't know if any of that like
I don't
weighs
know
on
that
it at
Google
all,
asks
but
for those things, really.
sure. Uh,
Where are you at now
yeah,
with your
so I think
business?
the other thing to realize too, it's sort of like if you're not reporting any taxes at all, this raises your profile. Just does. So anyway, just a thing that like, some people are, they're reticent to do it. They'll promote themselves on social media, but then, you know, this part is I guess it makes it more
Yeah,
real or
you
something.
just can't you just can't have a sustainable career where it drains the life out of you. Honestly, like how much do you guys charge an hour? 150 and up, and yet you're putting in hours and hours and hours to the social media stuff for zero, almost like a 0.4 conversion rate. So if your time is that valuable, put less time into the spot that doesn't really help and kind of move that time over to where it does, um, so to speak. There's some more questions?
We're just about out of time right now, so we can take like one more question. If anybody has anything.
Josh, what's up?
All right, so I'm kind of a caveman when it comes to all this stuff. When you're talking about making a post on Google, like, what are you doing that from?
Well, you can do it in any way if you want, but well, let me take off my work mode. I'll show you if you guys can see my phone. All right. Google Maps, right? And then at the bottom, business. And then you can make this stuff right in here. You can post right from there.
Okay.
Shoot, this.
Or
Or you could do it from, yeah, Kenny maybe knows too, but you can do it from, if you want to do it from your browser, you have your own profile at this address. I'll put it business.google.com. You can do it there.
Because I started making, like when we first talked, I started making like the separate one for myself.
Yeah.
And I've since not necessarily abandoned that, just haven't really caught back up with it because I've been focusing more on the shop one,
Right.
So yeah, I was just curious of how you actually like make a post on Google.
I do it usually through my Maps app, but if you're in your browser and you search for your own name, you'll find your listing, and then in that you click add update or post or something like that. It's from that same. We can walk through later on too.
Okay.
But also, real quick to what James was saying, like I don't know if everyone realizes that their business is probably already out there, but you didn't claim it. So there could be information all over the internet about your business that you didn't even list because there's directories everywhere. So like for example, on Bing, you might have a listing that hasn't been claimed, but it's your business data, but you didn't put it in there. So, but it's findable. It's not always the case, but it's good to audit your business everywhere on the internet to make sure that's not happening. It's one of the things like, for the clients that I work with, we'll suppress any sort of duplicate listing like that and then create one single source of truth. Everywhere is the same, always, so that there's no inconsistencies in their data when it's reporting back to Google. But yeah, you might even already have listings that you're like, I didn't do this, kind of like what James said. And that's a little bit like, oh no, a little bit scary. Also too, guys, if you're not monitoring your stuff, someone could take it. So you want to make sure that you know and you have full control on it. Like you don't want to have like a phony version of you on Google. You might be worried about Instagram, but Google's probably the place where people could do that too. So audit yourself completely and thoroughly, and then we can talk further about what to do next too.
Awesome. Hey, Lauren, would you mind dropping in the chat your information? People can get in touch with you. So if anybody's stuck right now,
Sure, tattoomapper@gmail. So yeah. But yeah,
Yes,
like I said, when I try to throw a bunch of stuff, my brain kind of goes all array. But the dialing in home point is like, let's put a little bit more time into the real world and stop trying to think of social media as like, get that FOMO out of your head. Like, just get it out of there because it's impacting like how much time we have to spend with our families or draw or do things or not worry so much about what other people are doing, you know. And after my 4 months of not having any social media at all, my life just is different. I'm a lot more carefree. I'm a lot more direct with what I do. If I'm going to have a business opportunity, I'll email or I'll call them, you know. So it's just kind of encouraging because as tattoo artists, how long can you really survive putting in thousands of dollars per month of your time? So
this is great. Thank you so much, Lauren. If any of you find, issues or troubles with this, reach out to Lauren as well. If a week has gone by and you have not done anything, maybe it's time to call Lauren at this point. Get your Google business listings dialed in and set yourself apart from the competition in your area. That's the true benefit here. So I appreciate everybody being here. We'll commence next Tuesday. And there will be a replay as well that Gabe had discussed earlier.
Just real quick, I guess my question is, should I just give everybody that's signed up to this access to the course, or should we send out an
100%.
email and let people click on the link to join the course with all the
Either way, Gabe.
Okay. Well, one way or another, we'll make sure that you either get an email that has a link, or we're just going to sign you up. But we're going to do it today and make a decision. We can't waffle it on anymore.
all right, cool, awesome. Yeah, if you want to do any of that, that'd be great. Josh, if you're available for a little bit, then I'll give you a call. If that's okay, cool. All right, everybody, thank you very much. We can continue any sorts of this anytime. I love.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lauren.